Hey, all you sweet ass humans out there. Welcome to the Back on Track podcast brought to you by I Am Somebody. I am your host, Jennifer Bulbrook, and I am here dedicated to offering you a unique experience through inspiration by showing you that you are somebody. In this space, as we know, I share personal experiences and we discuss serious issues such as all things mental health, and we work through the process of having our thoughts serve us by incorporating new techniques into our daily lives. At I Am Somebody, we own who we are because we are somebody. And this week, not only do I have a very, very special somebody, a very special guest, but I have like a celebrity with us today. Woohoo! Hello, Chazz from Love After Lockup. For those who don't know, Love After Lockup is a reality show about people who meet while one's in prison and the other one's in like the outside world, and they kind of like follow their journey. And so, welcome, Chazz. I'm so happy to have you here. We've been talking about doing this for a little while now, but I know you're extremely busy and with recording and all that other jazz. But I am so happy that you finally were able to kind of squeeze me in. And yeah, I'm so excited. So thank you for being here.
Oh, it's definitely my pleasure. It's awesome to be here too. And yeah, I love the whole premise of your show too. That's very cool. Keeping it all positive. And just for the record, I was not the one that was incarcerated.
Yes, and we will get to that very shortly. I love that. I'm glad you pointed that out. Now, I guess what we should do, since you pointed that out, is maybe give the viewers a brief description overview of who you are and what your journey on the show was kind of like.
Okay, so yeah, about 2 years ago, I started. I was talking. I met Branwen, and she, of course, was incarcerated at the time, and so we started being pen pals. And yeah, it kind of grew into a more of a romance, long distance per se, and we decided to get married. And jokingly, we decided, hey, we should send an email to Love After Lockup and see what they say.
Ah.
And so, as a joke, I mean, seriously, it was as a joke, and I bet everybody says the same thing. But I sent him a picture of me. Sent a picture of Branwen, and I was explained, that I'm a retired Marine. I play in a heavy metal band, and I'm dating an inmate. And they emailed me back the next day wanting to set up an interview. And
Wow.
so, yeah, it was really quick. So they were pretty excited about us, and yeah, and so the story goes from there, really.
Yeah, that's exciting. I didn't know that's how it started. Who reached out to who? Did you reach out to Branwin, or did I don't really know how you would like, I guess I don't really know how that works.
So yeah, so I used to go on one of the inmate websites. It's basically for pen pals, and I'd talked to a few, and I never really thought about getting serious with anybody. It was more just I wanted to have some human contact, just to communicate with people again, because I was incredibly at a dark spot in my life, really lonely, and it's funny because I was actually kind of thinking to myself, okay, I'm totally done with talking to inmates because they just all seem to want money. And that's, I don't want to finance somebody. I just want a friend.
Right.
And I saw her ad, and her ad was actually really sweet. She was saying that she wants to move away from Portland. She's thinking about moving to Arizona. And so I sent an email just like, hey, instead of Arizona, why not move to Kentucky? Let's see what we got going on here. And then we had a video visit. She was like, well, let's video visit and kind of see if we like each other. And so we did a video visit, and it went really good. We was actually we hit it off really well, and I don't just kind of never stopped talking after that until she got out. But that's another part of the story.
And so how long was she in while you guys dated, or I guess you guys dated while she was in there, right?
She was in for 2.5 years, and I met her just shy of 2 years when I met her.
Okay. Okay. So not too long, but long enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We actually planned on getting married while she was in, actually. That way, when she was released, she could come straight to Kentucky instead of having to spend time there.
Oh yeah.
But due to COVID shutdowns, they weren't allowing weddings in the prison.
Oh, the freaking COVID, eh?
Yeah.
Put a knocker on everything, I tell ya.
I tell you what, I
So what attracted you most to Branwyn that it was like, yeah, she's the one? Like,
so with Branwyn, like I mentioned, it seemed like that all the inmates that I spoke to were looking for somebody to give them money. She never asked for money. And I thought that was really sweet. And then when we started talking, a big thing for her was, she really loved animals. She had a really caring spirit about her. And so we just kind of we kept on talking, and I thought she was really genuinely sweet. And it wasn't until about a month or two later that I was like, hey, if we're kind of going to see each other, if we're making this, see where this can go, let me give you some money, and it really was that. I mean, I had to pretty much twist her arm, and she hardly ever, if ever, asked for money. It was usually, unless it was important, like, hey, I'm out of vitamins. I really need to get, some supplements or something. Then I
mhm.
would give her some extra money. But, and to me, that really meant a lot to me that she wasn't in it for that. Um, and then she was all about getting married just as much as I was. We talked about it all the time. Her getting away from there, getting away from that life she was in, and we formed a really strong bond. I mean, we were talking 2 to 3 times a day. We'd video visit every weekend. It was just it seemed like a really strong relationship.
Yeah, it felt like a strong bond with you, right? Like on
Mhm.
your end, it did. And I'm sure on her end, it did too. And I know, like, as viewers, we only see certain things and stuff, and we don't really get to see everything that goes down. But I, I don't know how you feel about this, but I have a feeling, I don't know her, but I think she did genuinely want it to work between you guys in that, but her path just kind of went a different way. And she was really, looking forward to that type of life with you. And I think it's just for her though, once it was started happening, it just got really overwhelming in that for her. And I think that's maybe what happened. I just don't think she was playing. Like, I know a lot of viewers like she played you the whole time, and I don't really see that.
Right.
Just for what it's worth or whatever. And I'm not sure what your take about is it, because I do know that you do hear what all the viewers say. And so what would you say to the viewers out there saying that she completely used you the whole time?
So while she was in prison, she was completely sober and a totally different person and personality.
Mm-hmm.
Even when she got out, like they showed on camera, like how she come over, running over to me and gave me a big hug, and that was all real. We were really in love, and I could kind of sense when she saw her friends, maybe, she was thinking, well, they're gonna think I'm weird because I'm not the type of guy that she would normally go to, and I think that kind of got in her head a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But trying to be respectful to her, it's like one thing I told her straight up. It's like, when you get out, we're not having sex until you're ready, because she's got a new guy with her. She's got cameras around.
Yeah.
Everything's being recorded. And the last thing I wanted to do is add to that level of discomfort for her.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't important to me. I mean, it was more important for us to bond and to grow together. Even up until the point where we got married, when the preacher was there, I stopped, before anybody said anything. I was like, hey, are you sure you want to do this? Because if you don't, we can stop it now. No harm, no foul. And she told me she loved me. She told me she wanted to marry me. And so we continued with the ceremony and got married. And, and it was really good for about the first month. So I agree with you, though. I mean, long story short, that she was genuine. She really did love me, and she really wanted to do that. And unfortunately, I think it was getting back in the folds of her friends, and the mistake of having to stay in Portland for 4 months was just too much. It was too much temptation for her, too much bad influences, and and I hate to call them snakes, but they really are. Her
Mm-hmm.
friends.
Do you think things would have turned out differently if she was able and she did move prior to, like, when she released, she didn't go back to Portland?
So I think I've had two feelings on that because I think it could have had she stuck with her guns and did what she wanted to do. But I also know, she would have come out here, she wouldn't have had any friends, so she had of course reached out to her old friends back home, and she would have started missing them and talking to them. And so she might have eventually just resented me anyway for taking her away from that life. So I think ultimately we probably wouldn't have worked out. It was just kind of a pipe dream. It's sad to think about it that way, but I mean that's kind of the reality of it. She's from a different world and she has different values.
Yeah. Yeah, and so like I had said before, I had pressed record. One of the reasons why I wanted to have you on was because you seem like a genuine person who really doesn't sit there and judge people, and you take people for who they really are. And you don't see that very often, especially nowadays. And so I just kind of wanted to have you on and just kind of ask you like your perspective, like how do you view people? Like and I'm sure I'm gonna ask you right off the bat because I'm sure this is what people ask you all the time, but why women in prison?
So, and it wasn't that I was necessarily going for women in prison. So back in 2015, I was married. We'd been together for about, gosh, 7 or 8 years. And we had a painful discussion. We were kind of arguing, and so I was like, I'm gonna go to the store. I need to get out of here. I need to catch my, you know, gather my thoughts. So I went to the store for a couple hours, and I came back and found her dead. And yeah, that put me in a really dark place. I didn't want. I hated everybody. I didn't want to deal with people. I didn't leave the house unless I had to, and I did that for about 4 years. It was a really, really bad experience, and way to live. Um, so I told myself I need to start socializing. I need to start having a life again. Um, and so I decided, writing an inmate would be a nice way to talk to women without having the need or the necessity to actually have to meet them. And it was never anything I planned on, dating an inmate or getting married to an inmate. It's just, it was an easy way to be accepted by somebody and to talk to somebody. And again, I could learn about where they're coming from, learn about different lifestyles that I've never been accustomed to. Um, and yeah, so it all just kind of went from there. But it's yeah, that's the first time I ever spoke to an inmate or did anything that I even know of was even in prison, to be quite honest. It's just not something that's been in my wheelhouse.
Right. It sounded like it was something that you kind of needed at the time to take you out of a really dark place you were in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like something, it was like being able to meet people without really having the pressure to meet them.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, like to this day, I still kind of suffer from a bit of anxiety. Like now, when I meet people, unless I'm playing with my band, I get really freaked out about it. Like even the first time my band was going to come over here to record to my house, I watched. It was the night after one of the episodes that was pretty upsetting for me, and I told them it's like I can't have you guys over here. I'm too on edge. I can't deal with it. And they were really really pissed off, for lack of better words. And I kind of explained myself to them, and it wasn't them or anything. It was just I was having some really heavy thoughts and issues to deal with, and fortunately they're good friends, and they were understanding about it. And I've made up for it, of course.
Of course, I don't see you having a bad bone in your body.
There might be a few. I try to keep I try to keep myself positive, and I blame my mother for that. She's probably the best example ever. I mean, she would help a stranger in need. She's very giving, very loving. She just loves people, and I think I got a lot of that from her. I try to give everybody a chance. As long as you come at me with the same respect I give you, we'll get along great. It's just when people try to take my being nice as also being weak. And I guess it could potentially be construed that way because I won't I won't get toe to toe with them. I won't confront them, but I'll just push them away from my life. I won't have anything to do with them. And that's again, I don't want to have I don't want to confront them. I don't want to have bad blood. I don't want to start a big argument. And even then, if I do, I make it really snarky, and I try to have fun with it at least. You know,
Yeah.
if you've seen
And
some of my posts and my replies, I
yeah.
get really snarky, but I try to be really funny about it if I can.
Yeah, I actually love it. I get a kick out of some of the stuff that you post and some of the comments that because and like we had talked earlier, like with all the positive that I'm sure you get like a lot of support out there. I see it.
Oh yeah,
Um and but with some of that support also comes some negative
yeah.
feedback and negative shit that and so how do you deal with that, and what would you say to other people that deal with that on a personal basis in their day-to-day lives?
So in the day-to-day lives, I guess really what I did that worked for me was I cut out the negativity. For instance, a really big thorn I had was Twitter. Because I had the Twitter, I had the Reddit, I had all those accounts, and people were just incredibly openly rude.
Mm.
And I'm thinking, I don't need that. I don't want that, because I'm gonna get upset by it. Because I mean, the first couple weeks that I was on TV, I didn't want to deal with people. It was like this is I just wanted to lash back out at them, but I knew it wouldn't do any good. It would just throw fuel on the fire. So instead, I just shut down, closed my Reddit account, closed my Twitter account, and stayed with the Instagram and Facebook because I can control the narrative there. If
Yeah.
I get somebody bad on there, I just block them. I just cancel that out because I don't want to see that. They can
Hmm.
say that wherever they want, but don't tell it to me.
Yeah.
Um, and so, I mean, I guess in the real world situation, while it's a little more difficult to just cut that out of your life, there's still ways of doing that. Killing them with kindness, of course, is always a great way to do it. I mean, if somebody's in your face just being a jerk, sorry you feel that way.
Mm.
I don't think that way about you. um, and yeah, maybe kind of looked down upon or showing as weakness, but in the end, it just shows that you're also a stronger person than they are.
Yeah. Definitely. It definitely shows you're a stronger person. Don't stoop to people's level. That's what I always say.
Oh yeah,
And like, I love the fact, like, kill it with kindness.
yeah.
Keep showing up the way you would want to show up because you never know. Eventually, it might rub off on them that you too.
Sure. Well, I've had people on a few uh, social media that they do say some really negative stuff, and at first I really play that hard. Like I'm really glad that you feel confident saying that and tell me that, and I will take that in consideration. Please just also do me the favor of controlling your emotions, how you speak to me when you come at me.
Yeah.
um, and I think I actually made a couple friends by doing responding in those type of ways. But also there's a few people that just needed to be booted out of my life, per se, the
Hmm.
online
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
So but it's just being a human. You got to be a human to people, and
Yeah.
I don't know
And
that I
remember,
don't know.
you're human. Like, we're all human. And
Yes.
just because you're on TV doesn't make you not human, and it doesn't make you not have feelings.
Oh, exactly. And it's amazing how openly rude, I've said that before, but how openly rude people can be. They
Mhm.
don't realize that, yeah, they've seen you on TV, but they don't really know you. And when they come at you, it still bothers and it still hurts. And I may not, a lot of people won't respond as kindly as I do.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to sit there and go after somebody I know nothing about when all they know about me is a few minutes on TV.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said earlier, like, we don't even get everything that's being shown on TV. Like, we only get bits and pieces and what
Oh
they
yeah.
want to edit in, right? So for people to judge people, especially on that, is just like, you may want to step back a minute and even see why you're judging them, right? Like, why
Oh
is
yeah.
anybody even judging you? But that's gonna like kind of take me into the next question. Like, are you dating right now? So what's going on with your love life?
So right now I'm still legally married to Branwen.
Oh, okay.
Um, I flirt a lot and I do talk to a few people on a daily basis. and they're also understanding that until I'm divorced, I can't be anything more than a friend, and I'm happy doing that. And if they can't handle that, or if they think that there's something deeper or stronger at the moment, I either have to remind them or they kind of move on to their own direction.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's like I never want to work anything out with Brandon again. It would never work, and it would be futile to do that. But I respect the vows that I took, and
Hmm.
so it's something that I know it's kind of old fashioned, but it's also a good way to live sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. You got to be true to who you are and just forget about everybody else, right? Because
Yeah.
you're the one who has to live with you, right? Like
Yes.
24/7, you got you around.
Exactly. And that's a hard pill to swallow, but it's so true. I mean, I like to think at least a lot of these people that are really crappy to other people, at the end of the day, when they're reflecting, if they don't have their audience around and tell them how cool they are, they probably just, they're probably not real happy.
Yeah.
They can't be to have that sort of attitude towards
Mhm.
people.
Yeah. 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 And I like to look at it like from a curiosity part when I see somebody, not being very nice to somebody else and that, and kind of give them some compassion and some be like, I wonder what's going on in their life to make them to like
Right.
talk that way and to treat somebody that way, because for them to do that to somebody else, they've had to have had it done to them or something has to be going on in their life. So I try to look at it in a compassion, curiosity type of way, but without like accepting what they're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, and you also notice, I mean, people that are like that, I mean, eventually they end up changing some of their personality, or they find themselves incredibly alone because ultimately people don't want to keep associating with somebody who's going to treat them badly. And nobody wants to sit around and be a yes man for somebody else all their lives. Um, so
Yeah.
and I hate to say it, but I can ultimately see Branwen heading that same direction. Because she has her way of life, but it's all based on her looks.
Hmm.
And the older she gets, unfortunately, they don't stay with us all the time.
Yeah.
And so, I wish her the best, but it won't be with me.
Do you speak with her still? Are you on speaking terms, or is it like completely?
We have not spoken since May 29th, and that was the
Oh.
day I actually found out about her escort ad.
Oh.
Yeah, and we spoke what we needed to when we filmed the last week of the show. But if you'll notice, the last few episodes, my hair was longer. We didn't look each other in the eye. We
Yeah.
didn't hold hands. There was none of that, and it was really, we did not want to speak. Neither one of us
Mm.
wanted to be there. I mean, come on, I even went out there with divorce papers in hand.
Yeah, yeah.
I was ready to go. Um, so we've spoken through email a few times, the email's basically been me sending an email to every email account I knew she had to be like, hey, are you going to sign these divorce papers? Should I send the court order so you can just sign that? And yeah, eventually I just had to do a warning order and proving to the judge that she's abandoned the marriage. So
So is she like, I don't understand why she doesn't sign the papers. Do we know why she doesn't just sign the papers? No. Oh.
I have no idea. All I could do is speculate on that. And I think maybe she was trying to ride it out to see if she could get some money. But I mean, again, that's just speculation. I have no idea. Or maybe it's just one of those things. If she ignores it, it'll go away.
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of different things, and that's, we never know unless she tells us, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
she gets mad at me. I mean, I haven't emailed her, gosh, since, wow, August, I guess. So
Mm.
it's been a while. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're totally out of contact, and I'm okay with that.
So any of the women you are talking with now and that, like, has she thrown you away from the women in prison, or are you still talking with women in?
So, I do talk to a few. There are a couple in prison, but it's friendly.
Hmm.
It's just and again, it's just because like they've reached out to me in one fashion or another, like family members. Like for instance, there's one young lady. She's like her niece is in prison. She just needs somebody to talk to, and
Hmm.
so we talk, and she's really sweet. It's yeah, it's things like that, but yeah, I would never jump into a relationship that was serious again like that. Maybe if they got out and I was single and, we hit it off and couldn't live apart, that'd be one thing. But until they're out and I could see how they actually react in the real world,
Hmm.
yeah, that's not really going to be something I pursue.
So yeah, so you basically, yeah, you take it a lot slower than what you did the first time around.
Well, and that's a lot of people say that taking it slow, but it's not really fair to say that because 2 years is a long time to date anybody.
Yeah, that's true.
And like I said, we were looking forward to getting married for well over a year before she got out, and it was just because of COVID. So
Hmm.
I don't look at it as we rushed in anything. Unfortunately, I married somebody who was somebody else. I
Yeah,
mean, what it boils down to, because like the first month we were married, when the cameras were off, we got along so good. The day after we got married, I mean, I picked her up. We went to my hotel. We hung out. We went out to eat. We just had a great time, like a normal couple. And it
yeah,
was really sweet. And she's amazing when she's sober.
yeah.
Um, clean and sober, I guess. But it's a tough pill to swallow, and it was really sad, and it took me really a lot of soul searching before I finally made the decision to get the divorce papers.
Mm. Do you think it was the her going back to the drugs that caused her to kind of distance and you guys really, kind of having to go your separate ways?
I think it was partly that, but I think what brought that all on was really her friends. Because her friends are like they're so used to seeing her with guys like you saw her talking about, and so that I believe that made her embarrassed to be with me.
Mm.
Um, and I'm no, I don't know, I'm no Robert Redford or one of them type of George Clooney or anything like that. But um, so I realized that she could find a lot better looking guys than me, but she doesn't realize that. I think she's just thinking she's stuck where she's at and nothing will be better for her. And I could be wrong. Like I said, I haven't spoken to her in months, so for all I know, she could be doing great right now. Who
Hmm.
knows?
Yeah. Well, hopefully she is doing great right now. Unfortunately, a lot of the times when they get out and they go back to drugs, it's not really the greatest road.
Yeah.
I know from experience. My one son's dad, he's been in and out of jail and due to drugs, and when he's in, it's like one whole other guy, and then he gets out and
Oh,
he's great for a bit, and then it's like the evilness comes out,
that's
right?
exactly what
Yeah,
happened with Branwood too. Yeah,
yeah.
she just changed, and that's what kind of got me looking into her escort profile again because she gave it to me while she was in. She was like, "Hey,
Hmm.
if you want to see some more intimate pictures of me, check it out."
Yeah.
And of course, I'm like, "Yeah, I want to check it out,"
Hell yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so and I compliment her, and that kind of drove me a little batty on that last episode where she's like, "Well, he liked my ad." And it
Hmm.
made it sound like I was okay with her prostituting, but I liked her ad because I liked the pictures of her, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, her that Tawny girl, she kind of said, "You need to, investigate what your wife's doing because it's not everything you think." So the first thing I knew was, let me check her ad,
Yeah.
and sure enough, we had a video visit that she had canceled on me, saying that she had to help her friend Jessica move some stuff
Mm.
on that day, and so she canceled. And that was the same day that I saw her profile had been updated, and she had reviews from some Johns. So that's when I was like, I'm done. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna deal with this anymore.
Yeah. Good for you. And I'm glad that you were able to stand up for yourself and you really were able to be like, okay, enough's enough. Like, yeah, she's got problems in that, but like she's choosing this now.
Yeah.
Right. And so you need to choose you. And I was glad to see you choose you for sure. And I'm sure many people were.
Yeah, it was pretty fascinating the way the response from the public was after the last two episodes aired. So many people emailed me out of the blue, like, I didn't like you, but it was really nice seeing that you actually saw what we were all seeing. And and it was
Hmm.
kind of cool, but I'm also like, yeah, that happened months ago, and so I could see that too, but I still had a show to do and a contract to live up to,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that's where, I said before, like the people don't realize like it's a show. So even though it is your life, it's also a show.
Yeah.
And so we have to kind of like where's the line and not really take everything that we're seeing to complete heart and like, right?
Oh
So,
yeah.
and I just don't think people realize that.
Oh, it's what it always made me laugh when I'd get an email or a text message like the day after the show, and someone's like, "Why did you let her do that? Why didn't you leave her?" And I'm thinking, I've left her months ago. That's really old news. I even
Yeah.
jokingly on one of the responses, I'm like, "Yeah, February called. It wants its issue back." You know.
I love it. Yeah.
So
That's
yeah.
great. I like that one.
Yeah,
Nice.
I like I said, sometimes I think long and hard about what I'm gonna say because I have to retype it many times because I'm like, no, I don't want to say that to them. I'm not gonna be that guy, you know.
Hey, as long as you're being true to you, and you're not, you can't cause harm. I don't think you could cause harm to anybody.
Well,
So,
see, there's that one lesson I learned from being in the Marine Corps was there's very tactful ways to insult somebody,
mm,
and finding that tactful way of doing it, and even if you can insult them where they don't realize they're being insulted, is even better. Because there's some people that be like, I see what you did there.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
that's always those are the best ones.
I love it. The things you learn, where places you learn it, eh? Oh,
We just freeze up here.
yeah, just for a moment
Oh,
there. Oh,
oh, there we go.
oh, there we go.
Okay. All
Sorry.
right.
I don't know if that was me,
Yeah.
probably, but anyhow, alrighty. Well, I
It,
don't want to keep you too much longer, but I do want to ask you, do you have any advice
you keep
for
me as long as you
anybody
want.
out there that's struggling with who they are or struggling with like their life? Do you have any advice for people out there?
Oh man. I don't have any like fix all advice, but
Hmm.
what worked for me because a lot of people noticed, okay, between the first season and the second season, how much more confident I was. At least I think most people did.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
but it was what it really was. The first season, I mean, I was getting dogged so bad. People, everything I did, it was just under a microscope. And one day it dawned on me, it's like these people don't know me. There's nothing they can say or do that's going to affect me or hurt me if I don't let it. And so realizing that these people are just speaking from a quick draw emotion, it allowed me to ignore them, to not feed into them, and that's what built my confidence because I realized they're going around every Friday night watching me and worrying about what I'm doing enough so they feel the need to reach out to me or to speak in a public
Yeah.
forum about me. Whereas I don't know this person, and after I'm done reading their comment, I'll never think of them again.
Hmm.
There are a few I think about again, but I mean, in reality though, that gave me a lot of power. Um, and now it's also it's kind of a double-edged sword though too, because it also made it so I can't be as nice as I like to be to people because I when I first started, I mean everybody who talked to me, I would make sure I said hi back. I made sure I talked to them back and treated them with every minute of the day, all day and all night. It was
Mhm.
just nonstop.
Yeah.
And so I finally had to tell myself, you can't talk to everybody. This just is impossible.
Yeah.
And and so when I did shows, I would try to say that, and hopefully some of these people that I didn't respond to would understand it's not them, it's me, and that sounds so bad, but I mean honestly that's what it is. I can't keep up with it.
Oh, I can imagine. Like, I can imagine the amount of responses you would have to give in a day. Like, that to me, I don't know how anybody could keep up with that. You would have to hire people to do it for you.
Yeah. And I never did canned responses too. I always read what they said and I always responded in kind.
Yeah.
Um, and I just felt that that was the way to do it. And it was amazing how many people then would be like, "Prove to me it's you. Send me a picture." And I was like, you reached out to me, but okay, and
Yeah.
I would do that to a lot of them too. I'd send them a quick video. I'd be like, I'd
Oh,
say their name, I'd wave, I'd say this is who I am, and it was really funny how many people thought that was really cool or sweet, and
yeah.
they were really nice about it after that. And then of course Canada. You're from Canada, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So these Canadian people, I don't know about y'all though. I love Canada, but yeah, it's like I had so many attacks from Canadian people. It was really
Oh,
strange.
really?
I can't say attacks, but so for instance, I had one person text me. They got my number somehow, which of course that
Oh,
kind of like
wow, that's
irked me.
scary.
Yeah, yeah, my number leaked and it was not pretty. But yeah, so they said that, oh, this is Brandon and I'm in I don't know, Vancouver or someplace, and I knew it wasn't. I didn't
Yeah.
recognize the number, and I knew she couldn't leave the country with the state, let alone the country. And
Hmm.
but I was like, okay, fine, I'm calling the number then. And so I called the number, and some girl tried to do a really poor imitation of Brandon, and I was livid. I went off on this lady. I felt bad after the fact because I was like,
Hmm.
she was just trying to reach out to me for whatever reason. Maybe she thought we had some deeper connection because she saw me on TV.
Hmm.
And so, young lady, if you're listening, I'm really sorry about that. But I was also very emotional at that time. But and it's just a lot of people just I don't know. Canada's different. I mean, people are a lot more responsive, and they want to reach out and say hi. And some of the ways they choose to do it are a little disconcerting. you know.
We're creative.
And that's cool. That's totally cool. I've met some wonderful people in Canada, especially from the show. I've got some friends that I still talk to that are from Canada,
Hmm.
so it's really nice. Yeah, some beautiful women there too. It's too cold.
It is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right now, it's actually not too bad. It's for November. We're like, people can wear shorts right now. It's kind of weird.
Oh, oh, rub it
But
in.
yeah, but give it a few days and we're going to be like, screw this. I need out of here.
And plus, I mean, Canada, you guys gave us Rush and Justin Bieber, so
Yes.
and Ryan Reynolds. So
Yeah, we have some good qualities about us. Yeah.
yeah, I love Canada. And the best part is it's like I can usually give my Canadian friends shit about it, poop about it.
No, go
Sorry,
ahead. Swear.
and
It's all
and
good.
and they will give it right back in kind. So it's
Yeah.
always a fun time, and I enjoy it.
Awesome.
And of
I
course,
love
that's
it.
why when I heard you say A, I'm like, oh yeah, there we go. I love it.
Yeah, I forget that people can tell me I have an accent and it's like,
I love your
yeah.
accent. I think it's
Yeah.
amazing. You keep that, and you keep that strong and proud.
Yeah, like I didn't even know I had one up until like a couple of weeks ago.
Well, and so here's the funny thing. So I mentioned Rush, right?
Yeah.
And so the first time I heard you say A, I kind of spoke back like a pirate. And
Yeah.
it was a knee-jerk response because Alex Lifeson from Rush, he kind of jokes, well, yeah, and Getty kind of joked around with the pirate voice on one of their tours. And when I heard the A and I heard that, the first thing that came to mind was speak like a pirate. So it wasn't anything like trying to make fun of you. It was
Yeah.
really just a knee-jerk response.
I love it. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. That just shows like be who you are, just show up you. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what are
Absolutely.
your future? Do you have any future plans that we should know about?
So I'm getting ready to graduate with my master's degree in digital
Nice.
journalism. So I'm still thinking about I should start a YouTube channel.
Oh,
But
yes.
I haven't figured out the subject I want to, because I don't want to focus on this show. I want to focus on something that I'm passionate about,
Yeah.
and I don't want to sound like an idiot talking about it. Um, and then, of course, my band, we're in the midst of recording a new album. So we're
Nice.
hoping to release that after the start of the year. If everything goes right, that's quite the process because I end up mixing and mastering it, and so it's a lot of fun. And I also been recording some other bands in the process too, which is
What's your
is
band's name so people can look you
Oh,
up?
it's Untold Relic, and Relic is killer spelled backwards. Our whole thing is talking about serial killers and slasher movies, things like that. It's all in good fun. None of us has actually slashed anybody that I know of, and
Not yet.
yeah, yeah. It's a fun subject because you can be as heavy or as light as you want with the music, and it just works for the subject matter. And there's always something to write about,
Yeah.
like one of our biggest songs called Zodiac Killer. It's like it's just
Love
a
it.
crazy concept, but it really works, and people really like this song. And then of course we've got another song that's really popular too, and Darkest Hour, and it's just about a friend of the band's that passed away, and
Mm.
they wrote this song about him, and it's it's connected with a lot of our audience members, whether they've lost a loved one from cancer or any other disease. It also, around the same time we released that album, the pandemic was in full effect.
Mm.
So it's kind of neat. A lot of people really reach out and they're like, "I love that song," and it's like, okay, well, enjoy it, and I hope we don't disappoint you.
Yeah,
Um, so it's
I
kind of
love
cool.
it. Yeah, very cool. It sounds like you have some exciting stuff happening. I love it. And yeah, for sure, anybody who's out there and wants to like check out your band, I say check it out. Are you anywhere in particular that they can find your band or you or anything?
Sure. If you go on YouTube, you could, of course, search for Untold Relic. And of course, that's with Killer spelled backwards.
Yep.
And we're also on Apple Music. We've got a couple albums on there. And we've got a few singles we released in the past year also. Spotify, Amazon Music, all the streaming services were on there, Pandora. And then we're on Facebook, Untold Relic. You can look me up under Chazz Harbison also. On Instagram and Facebook. And then you'll find that I have another Facebook called Charles Harbison, but I use that for my school. And so a lot of people get on there like, kind of disappointing. And it's like, well, it's just my schoolwork. It's just I have to publish it for my grade, and so that's where I pushed it. But it's nice having people that are looking at that stuff and interested. But yeah, don't judge me on that because I'm still in school, still learning. So it's all in good fun.
Love it. And when are you graduating?
I'm slated to graduate in March unless I really upset my instructor. But no, it's funny. So this week, as a matter of fact, I was supposed to do a post on Reddit, which is my arch nemesis. And so
Ah,
I kindly explained to my instructor through an email or through a message that I just got done with a reality TV show. It's still fresh in everybody's mind. I've had stalkers, and I really don't feel comfortable going back on Reddit right now. Um, and seriously, I had stalkers. That's crazy. But yeah, and so I haven't heard a response back from this week, but I did not post anything on Reddit, and I'll just have to take the hit for it. But it's my decision, and I don't feel comfortable doing that.
yeah. Well, you got to put your safety first too, right?
Yeah.
Like
Oh
that's,
yeah. Oh, I was getting
stalkers is
death
not,
threats. Yeah, it was nuts.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. It's like, yeah, like I don't get it,
To this
you
day, she
know?
still posts negative and made up information about me wherever she can. And it all stems from the fact that I declined her advancements of love. I
Wow.
I told her straight up I was married. I couldn't have a relationship with her. I could be her friend, and that was
Mhm.
it. And she flipped out. So I blocked her.
Wow. Wow. I am sorry
Yeah.
you have to go through that. That can be like that's not something like and with that you could just take even lightly because we don't like people are will do
Oh, right.
anything. Some people you don't know what people are capable of, right? And so that's just scary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm still throwing around the idea about getting a restraining order, but I hate doing that to anybody, because it puts a stigma on them, and I don't know what she's capable of, and I don't want to have to enforce a restraining order if she breaks it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so, I worry about things like that. Even somebody that is so despicable, I still don't want to cause them harm.
Hmm.
And if that's her goal, is to hurt me, she can try as she might, but I'm not going to let that get under my skin any more than I need to protect myself.
Right, right. Yeah. Just make sure you protect yourself and anything else, like let her just do her
Yeah,
because she'll fall on her own sword type thing, you know?
exactly. That's why I always said she's a candle burning out. Nobody really takes her seriously. At least I don't think they do. And the ones that do, well, that's
Yeah.
on them, but they're just being a yes man for a bad person.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Chaz. I really, really appreciate you coming here on the Back on Track podcast. I absolutely had a great time chatting with you. So thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh, you're amazing. Yeah, I had no idea you had such a cool personality too. I
Oh,
just like the
thank
whole
you.
chill vibe. Yeah, you're awesome. Um,
Awesome.
Yeah, and don't be a stranger. Yeah, you know how to find me. Always
Yeah.
chat me up, please.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely be in touch and keep in contact because you definitely are somebody that like I said, you don't find many really authentic people out there nowadays. And so when you do, it's like grab them and be like, yeah, you're in my circle now, Like,
Heck yeah,
yeah, for sure.
we're fam.
Absolutely.
Wait, which part
Yeah.
of Canada are you in? Not you don't have to give me an exact location,
I'm
but
Hamilton, Ontario.
oh, okay, very cool.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been maybe next summer I'll take a visit out that way. I've been wanting to get up and go to Canada, and if nothing else, I
Yeah.
just got to go. I got to go to Toronto at the very least, you know.
Yeah, I'm like 45 minutes away from Toronto.
Oh, there you go. I'll make sure I
Mhm.
let you know.
Yeah, for sure. And make sure it is the summer because we don't want winter around
And you
here.
got to tell me the best places to eat too. That's all there is to
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure, absolutely.
it.
All right, Chaz, thank you so much, and thank you all for listening and joining. As always, we absolutely appreciate and love every single one of you. You all know what to do to hit and subscribe, and remember, say it with me and say it loudly. I am somebody. Love
I
you
am
all.
somebody.
Absolutely. Love you all. Until next week.